In this video, I'm going to show you some examples of some bad products that, unfortunately, a lot of beginners got involved in and why they're bad products. And make sure you stick around until the end. Over the last couple years of my own research and analysis, and through coaching and consulting others, I've put together a list of bad products that people have gotten involved with that you can download so you can hopefully avoid making the same mistakes. But first, my name is Crescent, and on my channel I share tips and strategy videos, just like this one, on how you can create a successful Amazon FBA private label business. So if you enjoy videos like this, consider subscribing. Alright, let's get started. So the problem I've noticed that beginners are often making is not doing their due diligence during product research, which is the root cause of them getting involved with bad products. There's a set of criteria that a product idea must pass in order for it to be a viable one. If any one of these criteria isn't met, then you should pass and move on to another idea, or you really need to be much more careful pursuing the product idea as the risk is much, much higher. If you want to learn more about what these criteria are, I do have a video on it here. Alright, so the first few bad products that I want to show you has to do with fads and seasonal products. And it's important that you avoid fads and seasonal products because they only sell well for a specific time period or certain times of the year. For example, with fads, typically only the early adopters will actually make any money. Anybody that comes on later on in the game ends up losing their shirt. And as far as seasonal products, they only sell well during specific times of the year. So inventory management is super important if you want to make any money so you don't overorder or underorder. So the first one I want to show you is the fidget spinner. And this was a hugely popular product a couple of years ago, and a lot of people made a lot of money, but people that came in late in the game lost a ton of money when the market fell. So if we pull up fidget spinner on Amazon, you can see there's still a bunch of other people selling this product. And if we take a look at the data for this niche, we can see that the sellers here are selling tons of these products every month, several hundred in fact, okay? But the problem is now is that the market is so competitive and the margins are so slim that it's very difficult for anybody new to break into this niche, to gain any traction, and to make any money. You can see here that if we take a look at the number of reviews, all of these sellers here have hundreds or thousands of reviews. So for anyone new that wants to enter this market, they're already behind the 8 ball. Now, if we pull up Google Trends and take a look at the historical data, we can definitely see that this is a huge fad that gained popularity super quick and then died just as quick. So in April through May of 2017 is where it spiked, and then popularity fell on its feet. Okay, so avoid fads. Now, along the same lines, a similar product that had the same fate is these solar sunglasses that a lot of people also jumped in on. So if we pull this up and pull up the data for this niche, we can see that similar to the fidget spinners, this is way too competitive. All the listings here have hundreds or thousands of reviews. So again, if we pull up solar sunglasses in Google Trends, we can see that it also had the same situation as the fidget spinners. In August of 2017, it had a huge spike in popularity during the solar eclipse event here in the US, and then after that, it died. Okay, so avoid fads. Now, similarly, for seasonal products, they have the same problem because they only sell better during a specific time of the year. For example, if we take a look at pool floats, and we pull up the data for this niche, we can see that they're also selling extremely well. They're all selling hundreds of thousands of units every month. But again, if we go and look at Google Trends, we can see that from the graph that these only sell the best during the summer months, from May through August. And then during the winter months, it dies, okay? So avoid fads and seasonal products. Now, the next type of product that I see a lot of beginners get into is patented or restricted products. Now, Amazon actually has a list of restricted products. If we take a look at their help section, you can see they actually list the restricted products here of what you cannot sell. So one product that I saw a lot of people get into and then realize that they can't sell is these lockpick sets. All right, now if we pull up the Chrome extension and take a look at the numbers, you can see that they're selling excellent every month. There's several hundred units sold every month and they're consistent all down the first page. And there's very low reviews, right? And that's because it's a restricted product. Not everybody is allowed to sell this product. You need to have permission to sell in this category. And if we go here and take a look at the restricted product list, we can see that right here, lock picking and theft devices is a restricted category, okay? Make sure while you're doing product research that even if all the criteria are met during product research, that you do your due diligence to make sure that it's not on the restricted list. Because restricted products need permission or special cases in order to sell, and prohibited products are products that you absolutely cannot sell, period. Okay, and Amazon actually has guidelines for this, and I'll leave links to them in the description below. Now, the other type of product that I've seen a lot of beginners get in trouble with are patented products, and one of them specifically is this full face snorkel mask. Now, this is a problem because back when this first came out and hit the market, the patent was in pending status. So either beginners didn't know that it was patented, or because it was in pending status, they thought they could sell it. And the problem was compounded because beginners invested in this product, was able to sell on Amazon, and then after a couple weeks or months, when the patent was actually approved, all of their listings got shut down and they weren't allowed to sell, period. So they were stuck with all this inventory, okay? So if we pull up the Chrome extension again, and this is Viral Launch, by the way, I'll leave a link in the description below to a coupon if you want to try it out. Now, if we take a look at the numbers, you can see that the monthly sales is through the roof. Thousands of these are sold every month. And of course, it's way too competitive now, but back in the day when this product first hit the market, it was a brand new niche. So the review count was really low, so the numbers looked really good, okay? Now, if we take a look and jump onto patents.google.com, and we do a search for full face snorkel mask, we can see the very first listing, actually the first two, actually the first couple of them here are that exact product. Okay, so in the case of this one, it says application status is pending as of right now. Today is October 8th, 2019. But if we come back and take a look at these other ones here, you can see this one is the similar product. As of today, the application status is active. Okay, so always check if the product you want to pursue is patented or not. And even if it's in a pending status, avoid it because that patent application can get approved at any time. It could be the next day, a month, 6 months, or a year from now, and you'll get stuck with that inventory and you won't be able to sell it. In the worst case, you'll even get sued. All right, moving on. So the next type of bad product is when the entire niche is saturated. And what saturated means is that there's a whole bunch of new sellers that entered that niche at the same time, and everybody's competing against each other at the same time. And so a great example of this is this milestone blanket. And a lot of beginners jumped in on this at the same time, which suddenly flooded the market with a whole bunch of new sellers and listings to the point where no one is able to make any money. Okay, so if we take a look at the data, we can see that these sellers are actually selling really well, and the reviews are actually on the low side. And again, this was a problem a couple of years ago. I don't recommend ever getting into this product now. Okay, so if we take a look here in Viral Launch, there's actually a column here, date listed, and it tells you the age of these listings. And if we take a look, there's still a whole bunch of new people trying to break into this market. And we can tell because they're all new sellers here within the last couple months. Okay, if we take a look here, there's one here, there's one here, here, right? There's already at least 10 new sellers trying to break into this market. All right, and you can actually click the sort here and we can sort it by the listing age. And you can see right away that there's at least a dozen here within the last couple months. All right, and that's a sure sign of a saturated market or an upcoming saturated market. And these are people that you're going to have to compete with if you decide to enter a niche. So always make sure while you're doing product research that the niche isn't saturated already or is becoming saturated. Now I'll leave a link in the video description below to a video I did on how you can determine market saturation. Now, a pro tip here is if we resort this back into their organic order, you can see that not all of these listings are showing the listing date. And what we can do there is there's a free Chrome extension called Keepa. And if we go to keepa.com, and click on the apps at the top. You can download and install it based on what browser you have here. So if we go back and we want to check the listing age on the ones that we can't see, what you can do is queue up those listings. For example, this first one, this third one, and the sixth one, for example. And then if we go back to the listing, Keepa actually opens up in a window below the main photo here, and it tells you the age of the listing right here. So this one's 220 days old, and then the other listing is 104 days old, and this one here is 358 days old, okay? Now these milestone blankets actually leads me into the next type of bad product, and that's where there's no way to differentiate. Now it's super important that you differentiate your product from all the other sellers so that you're not selling the exact same product as everybody else. It's very important that you find a way to differentiate that adds value by either improving the product, adding a feature, fixing a problem, or bundling it with something, okay? So that way you can charge a premium and maximize your profits. So again, if we look at the milestone blankets, you can see here that if we take a look at these listings, all of them look exactly the same. They're all this square blanket with a baby on it and the numbers with some kind of design on the left. There's nothing differentiating these other than the design and the font. And those are poor ways to differentiate because they're very subjective. If someone doesn't like the color, doesn't like the design, or doesn't like the font, no matter how good your product is, they're not going to buy it. You always want to differentiate based on something not subjective and something of value. So in my opinion, if you were to do a milestone blanket, it should be something such as better quality material, it's stain proof, babies, when they throw up on it, the stain doesn't stick, there's better thread count, stuff like that. Okay, but not based on the design or the font. Okay, and so the next product that a lot of people had the same problems with is these felt letterboards. And again, if you scroll down through these, you can see that every single one looks exactly the same. They're all these square letterboards with letters on them. No one's differentiated it, okay? So there's nothing separating one seller from the other. All right, so it's very important that you find a way to add value to separate yourself from everybody else. And I'll actually show you one more product that's come onto my radar that beginners have been asking me about, and it's these disposable coffee cups. Now, recently this product has been showing up on people's radar for some reason, and if we take a look at the numbers, you can see that the price point is really good. The monthly sales is really good, several hundred or thousands of sales per month, okay? But the problem with this niche is that it's very difficult to differentiate it, okay? It's a disposable coffee cup. It's something that people don't want to put a lot of money in because it's a throwaway item. So you can see that some people have tried to differentiate based on the design, like a different color, or they have a perforation of some kind on the cup. But other than that, but trying to differentiate based on the quantity isn't a very good way to differentiate, and trying to improve the quality of the product, like better materials or something like that, also isn't going to be a very good way because that's probably going to increase the cost, and people probably don't want to pay extra for a coffee cup that they're going to throw away. And especially if you want to go premium with this product for the same reasons, people probably don't want to pay a bunch of money for nicer looking coffee cups because they're probably going to go in some office space where they're just going to get used and tossed in the bin. Okay, so for niches like this where it's difficult to differentiate, even though the numbers might look good, I would be very cautious pursuing them. And lastly is getting involved in products where you cannot advertise using Amazon's PPC. And this is super important because you won't be able to drive any traffic to your listing, especially during a product launch. And this is very important while you're doing product research that you check this case. So the biggest issue here is, for example, with adult products, because you can't do PPC on them. So for example, if we take a look at Amazon's FAQ for their PPC campaigns, if we take a look at this section here, what categories can I advertise my products? If we take a look, these are the categories that you can advertise and do PPC. But if we come down and take a look here, it says at this time we do not support adult products used products, refurbished products, and products in closed categories. All right, and what closed categories are categories that are gated, meaning you need approval to get access to these categories to sell in them. And gated categories, if we take a look here, we can scroll down and you can see a list of all the categories and whether or not you need approval to sell in them or not. So for example, if we take a look at automotive and power sports, it says here approval is required. But baby products, you don't need approval, okay? So make sure you go down this list and make sure whatever product that you're looking at isn't a product that's gated, so you can't do PPC, all right? It's very important. I hope you found this helpful and that you understand the importance of making sure that you don't fall into these pitfalls. I've put together a list over the last couple of years of dozens of bad products that people have gotten into, and I've put a link to it in the video description below. Hopefully it'll help you out. Now let me know if you have any questions and post in the comments below. If you want to learn more about how to do product research properly, check out these videos here. All right, thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And make sure you click that bell icon to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. There's also a link in the description below to our community forums, which you should totally join. And as always, thanks for watching.